Number 18, which of the following has the smallest probability? P, Z is less than 2 if Z is a standard normal random variable. P, T is greater than 2 if T has 2 degrees of freedom. P, T is less than 2 if T has 5 degrees of freedom. P, Z is greater than 2 if Z is a standard normal random variable. Or P, T is greater than 2 if T has 5 degrees of freedom. Now you can do this kind of thinking about it, but since we have the data, we can use our numbers here. This is going to be, I'll show you how to put each one in. So you're going to do second vars, start with normal CDF for Z. And if it's less than 2, then it's going to be lower, negative 189. 2 is going to be, upper is going to be 2. And you just can keep it at 0 and 1. So that's going to be 0.977. And think about like the normal curve, right? Like at 0 is in the middle, and 1 and 2, and it's less than. That's a big probability. So we can rule that one out. Now let's do the other way. So let's do the Z is greater than 2. So if I did normal CDF, second vars, normal CDF, and I did greater than 2, I'd do 2 at my bottom and 1E99 at the top. Keep it at 0 and 1. And I get the complement of that, right? Those two should add to 1. So this should be 0.0227. Now that's significantly smaller than this. Similarly for the T, we can rule out T is less than 2 because, you know, think about even though the T is a wider interval, and so 2 will have a smaller probability than Z, it's still a lot because 0 is there and 2 is there. So let's focus on these two right here, okay? 2 degrees of freedom versus 5 degrees of freedom. So if we go to second vars TCDF, and I do my lower at 2, my upper at 1E99, and I get my degree of freedom at 2, you get 0.09. So that's not as small as the Z one. And then let's do it with 5 degrees of freedom. All I'm going to do is scroll up here and click enter, and I'm going to change that to 5. And 5 degrees of freedom, while it does give you a smaller probability because it's a higher sample size, it's still not as small as the normal. Remember, the normal is infinite sample size, so it's always going to be a smaller probability with a normal curve than a T curve, with all the other things kind of equal.